Bullshit.
It's the No Bullshit Marketing Show. I'm Dave Mastovich, CEO and founder of Massolutions, the world's only no bullshit marketing company. I want to talk about the passing of Norm Macdonald, a notable storyteller in my opinion. He passed away from cancer recently, and he was best known for being on Saturday Night Live, doing Weekend Update, and being fired from Saturday Night Live. But he also really was a performance artist. He wrote and did stand-up routines that were incredibly well-known and funny for decades. He was in bit roles as an actor in Adam Sandler movies. He was a guest on talk shows where he did some of his best material. He hosted the White House press correspondents' dinner one year and jagged all the politicos. Then he hosted the ESPYs a year later in 1998. Norm Macdonald, whether you were a fan or not, or whether you even knew of him, is important to storytelling because of some of the traits that he had that, if we're able to apply, can make us better storytellers. The first is Norm was committed to writing and storytelling. You could tell, even when he was a guest on a talk show, that he had written out that story and he had practiced his cadence, and he was dedicated and committed to writing and storytelling. That's important because it isn't easy. Producing a podcast, writing a blog, doing a workshop, being an MC at an event, speaking to groups, leading, and having executive presence with communication. All of these things are difficult. They take a commitment to working on it and to getting your reps. But you also have to have the confidence. You have to have the confidence to stick with your content. I just wrote a blog post and showed it to someone else on the team, and while I was showing it to them, I pulled it back and started editing it. And I do that quite a bit. You have to have the confidence to stick with your writing, knowing that there will be people that won't like it and people that won't get it. Both of those are significant, but they're different. There are some people that just won't like you and your content because of their own self-limiting beliefs. But then there are other times where they won't get it. And that's a tough one for me, because a lot of what we're talking about as part of the No Bullshit platform and the No Bullshit system are things that people haven't done very often. People that haven't done it themselves. And so then when they hear it, they kind of grasp it, they kind of don't. So that's always been a challenge for me, is having the confidence to stick with your content, your storytelling, when some people won't like it and some people won't get it. And boy, did Norm Macdonald stick with his content. You could just see him when he was telling jokes and stories and when he was hosting these events, when things weren't going over well. So that leads to his third strength. He owned and drove for and leveraged the power of silence. He knew that silence was not a bad thing. So you combine that he had the commitment to writing and storytelling, he had the confidence to stick with what he was writing, and he knew there was power in silence, and he would just let the silence go on. He would let the little bit of minimal laughter go on, and that led to his fourth strength or trait, which was he could laugh at himself. He was very self-deprecating. So when something wasn't being laughed at because people either didn't like it or didn't get it, or maybe it was bad, could be that too. In any instance, he took that and wasn't afraid of the silence, and then would smile and laugh at himself, let the silence go on, and then he would go on. These are important traits to storytelling. Because when we apply those, we're able to make more of an impact as storytellers. Our audience becomes more engaged. There's a greater retention of the message. So, here's to Norm Macdonald passing away, and want to honor his craft, his performance art. And number one, he was committed to writing and storytelling and was willing to put in the reps, the hard work again and again into practice. Number two, he had confidence in his content when there were going to be people that didn't like it because of their beliefs. There was times when people didn't get it, and there was times when it wasn't good. But he had confidence in it. He was comfortable with silence. In fact, used it to his advantage. He would let that silence linger, and then you would sometimes process the joke or just laugh at how he was letting the silence linger. And then the fourth was he could laugh at himself. If you can apply all of these when you're doing your storytelling, think about when you have. When you really prepared for a story, a presentation, a meeting, and when you were committed to it and you were passionate about it and confident in it, you weren't afraid to pause. Let people absorb. You made eye contact, looked at the nonverbals, and then you poked fun at yourself. You've done it. Whether it was at Thanksgiving telling friends and family a story, or whether it was in the workplace trying to get the point across about your leadership style. When you did those four things, you made an impact. That's what I'm hoping you take away from today's episode. Thanks for listening to the No BS Marketing Show, recorded in our studios here in bold, beautiful downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Remember, ask yourself, what's the big idea? And build your story around the answer. It's all about bold solutions, no BS.